This is the Leadership Podcast with Cameron Pieters that goes beyond leadership and personal growth. Hello, everybody. I have a special guest with me today on the Leadership Podcast, Jahnni Robinson. Jahnni, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'm really excited to have you, and there's some things I want to get to as we move forward on this. But I want to start off by asking you, because I know there's listeners out there that want to know a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you're from, and give a little intro.
All right. Well, I was born in California. Moved to Reno when I was 3, so pretty much grew up here. I've been in the research industry for about 27 years now. It's my full-time career. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. I moved from California to Reno when I was 3 as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I was actually from Southern California, South Pasadena, California.
Wow.
My family moved here, and I consider myself a Nevada native. I don't even remember living in California.
You kind of have to after that many years, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned research, not to get too into the weeds on the research piece. How did you get into research?
Oh, gosh. I was in a college course, and back then we didn't really advertise for research positions. So I heard about the monkey place that was hiring.
Okay.
And I went and applied, and I used somebody's name, like a friend of a friend. This person referred me. And so when I showed up, I just hoped that I wasn't going to run into that person because I didn't know what they looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was hired. And
you said that was what, how many years ago?
It was 1998.
1998. Okay. Yeah. All right. So now you're kind of getting towards the end of the research piece, and you're getting into being a financial professional. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
All right. Let's talk about that. What got you interested in that? How did you stumble across that?
Well, my neighbor, shout out to Chris Barber.
Yeah.
His welcoming party, my husband brought me along, and I said, "Oh, it's a financial thing?" And he said, "Yeah, we're going to support Chris." And I said, "Okay." So I showed up, and I was just very intrigued, and I signed up. I think it was maybe a week later, or, I expressed interest that day.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then you got licensed as a financial professional. You started building up a business there, right? Let's talk a little bit about your why. Like, why would you make the decision to transition from research into being a financial professional? Did something happen in your life that caused you to be like, wow, this really resonates with me?
Yes. Historically, and more when I was younger, I was not good at managing money. I did not have a good role model. And I've always been interested in finances and learning more. And I was just so intrigued and just wanted to dive right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the statistics that we've seen out there is that financial literacy, one of the reasons that people struggle with it is because it's not taught in schools. Most high schools don't teach a personal finance course, so people go on to make mistakes. And it sounds to me like the role model that you had, were they like, hey, save your money, don't spend it? Or were they like, hey, just don't budget, let's just go?
No, my mom's motto was money is meant to be spent.
Okay.
So money comes in and it goes out.
Really?
Just that quick. Yeah.
Wow.
So I made some pretty stupid decisions in my 20s. And I really, really could have benefited from the stuff I teach now.
Yeah. Yeah, really. The fact that, again, wasn't taught, you learn these things from your parents. If you have parents that say, hey, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that. It changes your relationship with money. And it sounds to me like that relationship wasn't that positive, but now it has been, or it has become that. So tell me a little bit about passion. What are you passionate about, and does it translate over into your financial business?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm passionate about helping people. So I've been a supervisor, as I said, for about 26 years now, and I really enjoy growing my people. And so I guess something that, I don't want to stay in the corporate world forever. And we've had kind of a rough financial situation in our company for at least a year and a half now. So I want to get into something different, something where I can be more flexible with my time. And this was the perfect opportunity for me. And I can still help people, which is my passion.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that just drew me right away. I was like, yes, sign me up.
I love that. When it comes to helping people, that's one of the things that, they say that when a leader gets better, everybody wins. And for you to go out and say, okay, listen, I'm gonna learn how to be a financial professional. I'm going to be in business with others that have the same why, the same passion. Um, it really helps foster that. And I just wanted to ask you, like, from a client standpoint, when it comes to clients and helping clients, tell us what that looks like. How do you help clients?
Well, I first start with education because, the more knowledge you have, the better sound decisions you can make. So education is the first piece. And then we sit down, either have coffee, have lunch, hop on a Zoom call. We talk about their financial situation, where they are now, where they want to be, and then I help guide them to get to their goals. So I'm educating them so they can make decisions for themselves, but I'm also guiding them so, in case they have questions, need recommendations, I can help guide them through that process.
Oh, that's perfect. I think that a lot of times people don't know where to start. Sometimes people, they want to do business with people they know and they trust. And so for somebody to, for you to be talking to somebody and telling them, "Hey, that's what I do. I just sit down and help educate them," I think is so powerful because a lot of times people are just like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go."
Right.
And so, when you help people in that way, I think it's awesome. So, um, do you charge a fee when you sit down with people and do that?
No, I do not charge a fee. And it's not a one size fits all approach. So again, we go with the educational piece, and then we talk about their finances. Maybe there's some sticking points. They maybe have a lot of debt, or they need some help or guidance with how to get rid of that bad debt, or just, gosh, decrease fees that they get every month.
Right.
So just depending on their financial situation will kind of guide the conversation. And it's not a one size fits all approach. So
Right.
yeah.
Somebody might need help increasing cash flow, or somebody might need help decreasing debt or setting up an emergency fund. I know that you do life insurance, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about life insurance. People out there need it. What is your perspective out there?
Absolutely. And I think something that I didn't realize, and I want to help other people realize and understand that, when they're with a company and they have life insurance with that company, that's a temporary situation.
Mm.
At some point, you're going to leave that job, whether it's you're moving on to a different career, a different job, or you retire. And then when you retire, you're up there in age, and then it's difficult to get insurance. So that's temporary insurance that companies provide for you in that situation. And a lot of people don't realize that. And then, when you're in your 60s or 70s, it's going to be very expensive to get an insurance policy because you're up there in age.
Yeah. The unfortunately, I think that people don't think about those things, or they don't have those conversations with a financial professional like you until it's a little bit, I don't want to say too late, but when you people get a little bit older, Maybe they have some health challenges. Maybe something pops up where they didn't expect it, and so start to tell us a little bit about why it's important to start when the earlier the better.
Yes, well, definitely, saving money, you wanna start early. But it's never too late to save money, right?
Right.
If your health is failing, you can still save money, usually a little bit at a time. Um,
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question. You talked a little bit about later in life because I know that when it comes to critical illness, when it comes to chronic illness, when it comes to long term care, people don't think about that until it's too late either. Is that something you can help people with their life insurance?
Absolutely, long-term care. That is definitely something that is my favorite topic to talk about, especially with women, because we tend to outlive our husbands. And I am in that situation. My husband is 12 years older than I am. So I will most likely be taking care of him. But when he leaves me, I'm not going to have anybody to take care of me. And I don't want to put that burden on my daughter. So long term care is very important.
Can people get long-term care just standalone, or can they get it inside of a life insurance policy? How does that work?
Both.
Okay.
There's options to have a standalone policy, and there are many options to have it inside your insurance.
Okay. You had also mentioned, and yeah, I started thinking about this when you said, your husband's 12 years older than you. I know that statistically men live to be about the age of 80 and women live to be about the age of 86. So that disparity right there, even if you are exactly the same age, chances of a woman outliving a man is greater. But what does life look like for a woman in retirement versus a man in retirement, right? Like, did you mentioned about savings and having a plan, and then when you get to retirement, when your husband is taking care of all of these things, how can what does that look like for a woman?
Well, almost half of the women defer financial decisions to their husbands.
Hmm.
So now more than ever, it's important for us to know how money works and to learn about our financial situations. Because if our husbands pass away, then we're in that position where we don't know what we're doing and we're faced with doing it on our own.
Yeah. I recently a little bit about me. I spent 34 years now in the military. I'm getting ready to militarily retire. And one of the things when it came time to make a decision on my retirement, they said, "Hey, listen, Mr. Peters, you can have all of your retirement or you can have a reduced amount of retirement. So when you pass away, it'll transfer onto your wife." Now, I opted to do life insurance in place of that. So I put a life insurance policy on myself so that if something happens to me and I pass away, my wife doesn't get that retirement. But for somebody that has a husband that's getting a pension, like, would you suggest doing that, putting a life insurance policy on them so they pass that on to a woman?
Absolutely, because then you can take that money that you're saving, right? Because if you give that benefit to your wife, you usually have to pay something for it now, right? So if you take that money and put it towards an insurance policy, then it's a win-win situation, and she's going to get much more with a life insurance. Well, I would think she would get more with a
Yeah,
life insurance policy than she would it to continue your benefits because it's only a portion, right?
right.
It's not the full benefit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, it sounds to me like people should sit down with you because you have some ideas and some strategies and some way to help them. So, if you're listening, you should probably sit down with Jahnni Robinson and discuss these things because these are probably some concerns that people have or maybe they don't have. So, as we kind of wrap it up, I want to give you the opportunity. Any final thoughts as we finish up here today, or any message you want to send to the listeners out there, people people that you love? What would you say?
Well, financial literacy is not taught in schools, and our country is facing a big crisis. And I want to help teach and educate everyone who can hear my voice on how money works. I really wish in my early 20s somebody would have taught me. It would have made a world of difference. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, inconvenience people for their own good, right? So.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, we're about out of time. Jahnni Robinson, thank you for joining me today on the Leadership Podcast. I look forward to all the successful things that are going to happen to you and helping all the people that can hear you that you know. And I just appreciate having you.
Thank you for having me, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely.